Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young, back with another fantastic, stupendous certified bus and hood classic banger on God. Today we are going to be reacting to Complex Sneakers' announcement of the sneaker of the year, the Adidas AE1. We're also going to be taking a look at some of the highlights that have come out of complexcon over this past few days, including some of the most exciting sneakers that we've seen, and a pretty feisty beef that played out between Lil Yachty and Bimma Williams. So let's first dive into some of the most interesting sneakers that we saw at complexcon. First and foremost, the Nike Air Max 1000. This is Nike's first 3D printed sneaker. It's a collaboration with Zellerfeld, and they've taken the Air Max 1 as an inspiration for the silhouette. We've been seeing a number of different colorways crop up, and the reaction that I'm seeing to these sneakers is generally pretty positive. A lot of people out there like the look of these. Of course, there are a lot of people out there that also want to credit Ye or Yeezy as being the inspiration for these types of 3D sneakers, but let's not forget that Zellerfeld have been around doing this type of stuff since 2015, a little bit before we even saw the foam runner. Travis Scott had a big impact at the event, having his own area called the Cactus Coliseum, having a lot of his sample sneakers on display, including these ones here, which people have been calling the Jack Attacks because it basically looks like the Mac Attack that we saw last year, but with some custom colors. I quite like the look of this black and purple colorway. We also had our first look at an upcoming Jumpman Jack colorway, or a T-Rex colorway, the Taupe Haze, which kind of give me Jordan 13 Flint vibes, which I really like. We also had the Zoom Field Jacks as well. The exclusive purple colorway of the Kids of Immigrants Nike Air Max Thunders released at complexcon as well. The yellow colorway is going to be the colorway that's going to be releasing more widely this upcoming week. We also got to see the Stash collaboration on both the Air Force One as well as on the Air Max 95. In fact, Mr. Stash was seen signing a box and gifting a pair, or giving a pair, or selling a pair, I'm not sure, to Joe LaPuma, who had them on feet. And the on-foot shots, according to this video here, have them looking really dope. These are supposed to be coming out for Air Max Day next year. And it wasn't just Nike hogging all of the attention. Asics were continuing on the mesh runner trend, debuting their collaboration with Hidden New York on the Gel Venture 6 Shields, which are going to be releasing at a later date, and these look really clean. And J-Tips was in the mix as well with his latest collaboration on the Saucony Matrix. J-Tips has been continuing to make waves this year and continuing to create inroads with Saucony. Homework had a collaboration with Saucony there as well on the Spot Built High. Salehi Bamberry was there with some glow-in-the-dark clogs. Adidas also had a feature there with their latest collaboration with Edison Chen and Clot on the Gazelle. Takashi Murakami debuted his Ohana Hatake slides, which, bro, look pretty out there. Feature and Puma had a GV special Lonely Road collab. Satoshi Nakamoto and Vans with an old school Port Royale. And we also had Lil Yachty's Air Force One lows, which brings us to the next interesting thing that popped off yesterday on the panel, where Lil Yachty got into it with Bimma Williams.
Talking about, he said, so wants to say, but all this shoe isn't unique, and Yachty, Jay-Z, and New York, and blah, blah, blah. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up.
Basically, to give you guys a little bit of context, Bimma Williams is a content creator that you're probably familiar with on Instagram or maybe on TikTok. He makes some really awesome videos talking about the state of the sneaker community or the sneaker culture, or what's going on with different collaborations. And he made a video a few days ago basically ripping into Lil Yachty's collaboration with Nike on the Air Force One low. Check out this video.
Lil Yachty's Air Force One completely missed the boat. Ahoy mateys, this is your captain speaking. If this year was your first time listening to Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt and the Black Album, can you really claim to be hip-hop's biggest sneakerhead? I mean, fam probably thinks Wu-Tang is a hot sauce. But enough of all that. I'm Bimma, and you're in the collab lab. Today, let's talk about why Lil Boat's Uptowns probably should have stayed docked. Look, after a year of unwanted white-on-white Air Force One collabs, these just feel like a general release. Like, maybe throw these overboard. And don't even get me started on his It's Us ad-lib. It's way too close to Kip's Just Us. Nah, I'd have left that in the shipyard. And Sneaker News says that these are dropping at complexcon. But let's keep it a bean. Travis Scott's about to steal that entire weekend. A better strategy for Yachty would be to create a moment of his own and bring some new ideas fresh off the boat. Collab cousins, are you jumping on board with these? Or do they just make you seasick?
Now on the panel discussion, Lil Yachty's sneaker had obviously come up, and I'm not sure which member of the panel group maybe prompted or maybe offered up Bimma's critique of the sneaker, but it definitely got Lil Yachty a little bit angry. Now Bimma Williams was in attendance in the crowd, so whether or not he was picked out or whether or not he piped up, I'm not sure, but basically Lil Yachty went on a bit of a rant. Check this out. And apologies ahead of time for the language.
Wait. You, sir, was dick sucking so hard on Instagram in your little apartment talking shit about the sneaker. And talking about, he said, someone wants to say about, oh, this shoe isn't unique, and oh, Yachty, oh, Jay-Z, and oh, New York, and blah, 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 blah. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up, bro. It's just dick slurping, munching, hot gobbling.
He's a friend of the
You can't do that to my friend. You can't.
Ball juggling, I mean, just going on kind of like,
He's a friend of the program.
Now, I'm not being funny, but Lil Yachty's response, in my opinion, was a little bit over the top. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Bimma's criticisms are valid to a certain extent. If you check out Yachty's shoe, it is basically an all-white uptown with some minimalistic co-branding touches. And in a time where these lazy Air Force One collabs are pretty ubiquitous, I don't think it's unreasonable to call out this lack of creativity. Now, I feel like the scathing vitriol in Lil Yachty's tone wasn't so much prompted by the critique of the shoe as it was the critique of his standing as a sneakerhead.
If this year was your first time listening to Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt and the Black Album, can you really claim to be hip-hop's biggest sneakerhead? I mean, fam probably thinks Wu-Tang is a hot sauce.
When Bimma Williams creates content, he's very clever with the scripting. He's quite good with the sass. And the way that he had crafted his critique took on the guise of some kind of rap diss track. And even Brandon Dunn and Joe LaPuma on stage were kind of trying to cool the atmosphere down and just settle the tensions down.
Can I say two things?
just dick slurping, munching, hot gobbling.
He's a friend of the
You can't do that to my friend. You can't.
And so at the end of it all, I feel like Bimma came out of this looking pretty good, and I think Yachty came out of this looking a little bit salty. What do you guys think? Right, so let's talk about the AE1, which Complex have decided is the sneaker of the year. Now, I know some of you guys out there won't really care what Complex think. Sneaker of the year is a subjective matter, and different people have got different opinions. I mean, that's the whole beauty of the entire sneaker community, is that we can have different opinions. And the criteria for sneaker of the year is different depending on how you want to measure it. I mean, some people are going to look at certain retros as sneaker of the year. For other people, sneaker of the year should be a new sneaker that we haven't seen before. Now, me personally, I can totally understand why they've chosen the AE1 as the sneaker of the year. I totally get it. It's not my personal sneaker of the year. I don't have any. I mean, it would be a little bit crazy for me to call the AE1 the sneaker of the year when I don't even own a pair, but I can totally understand why. And I want to give you guys some reasons as to why I think Complex, and for those of you out there that agree with this take, are totally on the money. First of all, it's a brand new sneaker. We've never seen this before. This is the AE1. So it has that novelty about it, which is definitely a tick in the box for being sneaker of the year. Second, it's the shoe of an absolute baller. Anthony Edwards is the man on court. His game has been likened to Michael Jordan. Last year he had something like the dunk of the year, as well as the block of the year, as well as countless incredibly impressive highlights on the courts. His team went deep into the playoffs and he was part of Team USA. Thirdly, the dude is a personality. He's funny, he's witty, he's charismatic, he's casual, he's cool, he's relatable. And fourth, the advertising has been immense. Can't think of a better advertising campaign in recent times than Adidas's work with AE. I mean, the adverts are packed with humor, they're up to date and culturally relevant. The nature of the language that's being used is very current and will no doubt resonate with the youngers. There's some subtle shade that's been thrown, and all of that playfulness kind of reminds me of the Nike advertising that we had in the late 80s and the early 90s. And then we have the shoes themselves. These are, in my opinion, very, very good looking. You look at them from any angle, they look absolutely fire. They look clean on feet. In fact, this is the first performance basketball sneaker that we've seen in some time that has actually made a successful crossover into mainstream streetwear, and no one exhibited this better or more conspicuously than Wale, the man that was responsible in some part anyway, for being a huge influential part of the last performance basketball trend back in the early 2010s. Wale has been showing out in the AE1s in multiple different fits, getting them off, I would say, pretty effectively. And the success of the AE1 from a commercial standpoint can't be ignored. These are 100 pounds or like $120, and so they come in at a really accessible price point. And for the vast majority of the season that went by last, you couldn't buy these. These would drop and sell out. These were reselling. China were manufacturing fakes of the AE1s, and as soon as you see your shoes reselling and then being copied in the fake market, you know you've got a hot product. And so is it the sneaker of the year? Oh, I totally get it. It's not my personal sneaker of the year, but that's why these things are fantastic. I think there's a bit of a difference between the sneaker of the year and then your own personal sneaker of the year. Because at the end of the day, this whole sneaker collecting thing is very personal. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys vibing with this call? Do you think this take is valid? Is the AE1 the best sneaker of the year? Or do you have another suggestion? Feel free to tap out down below what your favorite sneaker of the year is, and I will use the results to inform my top 10 sneakers of the year list that I'm going to be working on for December. Thanks as always for taking the time to watch the video, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care for now.